There's a power within you. It lifts your life to its highest level. It brings success, companionship, happiness, health, and peace of mind. As you tap into this power, it will respond to you because this power is within you. And that's why spirituality rocks. Welcome. I'm your host. I'm the Reverend Dr. Janine Burns, and I teach practical spirituality according to the principles of New Thought. The world is undergoing a rapid spiritual transformation, and the mission of Spirituality Rocks is to teach New Thought, teach practical spirituality. And the weekly shows bring you nationally known guests who are teachers. They will inspire, they will empower you, and awaken your divine nature and support you in expanding your consciousness. So New Thought teaches there's one ultimate loving energy, presence, and power in the universe. Call it whatever you're comfortable with. God, spirit, intimate intelligence, divine love. This power expresses in you, through you, and as you. And in New Thought teaches that we co-create with God, and that our thoughts are creative according to the strength and the desire contained within the thought. And so that's what we do each week. And wow, do I have a show for you today. Joining us on Skype today is going to be Terry Drew Karanen. And on the phone today we have Bernie Myers. Bernie Myers is a naturopath, and she's a master herbalist and nutritionist, and she's joining us right now. Welcome to Spirituality Rocks, Bernie.
Thank you, Janine. Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure being with you on Spirituality Rocks.
Awesome. So we teach that we have a threefold nature. We are spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical beings. You are a true student. You are a very spiritual woman. You practice practical spirituality, but your focus is nutrition. And I know you'd spoken to me that you've been on a 3-day fast. Tell us more about that. And why are you doing a 3-day fast?
Well, to begin with, you fast when you want to cleanse the body. And recently I took a cruise with the intent of writing a book called Kidney Failure Reversal Naturally. But in addition to writing that book, I found myself eating just about everything on that ship. So once I got back home, I decided it's time for a reversal, spiritual healing. And thus, 3 days of liquid fast. It's been beautiful. You get euphoria at the end of the 3rd day after not having to chew anything for those 3 days. It's wonderful.
You said you feel euphoric?
Euphoric. You can move the world.
Really, after 3 days of not eating. And so what have you been having smoothies or shakes? What kind of sustenance are you?
Nothing that requires digestion. Everything I've consumed in the last 3 days has been pre-digested. Therefore, it comes in the form of detox tea made from different herbs that cleanses the colon, the kidney, the liver, the spleen, the lymphatic system. It comes in the form of natural juices that are juiced freshly from vegetables. So you're having a full amount of vegetables you're consuming, but you're consuming them pre-digested because you just run them to the juicer and you're not inundating your body with all that fiber and stuff like that. You're just doing liquids with nutrients, so you are not hungry and fidgety and lightheaded, any of those things. You have all the natural vegetables, all of the greens, the kale, the spirulinas, the wheatgrass, everything that builds and cleanses the body at the same time. So for 3 days, you rest your entire digestive system, and everything is beautiful at the end of that time.
Fantastic. Now, our banners aren't working, so I want the viewing or listening audience to know that they can reach you at www.BernieHerbs, that's BURNIEHERBS.com, to find out more information. And so what kind of spiritual food do you combine with your physical fast?
Well, you cannot go on a liquid fast without going into deep prayer and meditation. They work together. Reminding yourself that disease is not so much of the body, but of the mind. And when our thoughts and feelings are not clean and clear, when we're not spiritually in tune with the universe that keeps us, then we're really wasting our time by just eating right foods, and they must go together.
Fantastic.
So you have to focus on prayer and meditation, quiet time to quiet the body, to quiet everything around you when you're going through these 3 days of liquid fast. So they go together, hand in hand.
I want to remind the guests, if they want to get in contact with you and find out more about the nutrients required in this liquid fast, and even to find more about the spiritual food and the prayer and meditation, they can go to www.burnieherbs, BURNIEHERBS.com. Do you have a parting word for our viewers, Bernie?
Keep looking up. Do not look back. Look forward. Remember, the body is the temple of your Creator. You call it God, whatever you call it, your Creator. The body is that temple, and you should always focus on keeping it cleansed and rejuvenated, and it would last you a long time without pain and suffering. You do not need drugs, medication. You have to educate yourself into eating right, thinking right, being right, and you will not be caught up in that medication thing. God gave you everything you need in the Garden of Eden. When the Creator put us here, it provided everything we needed to get us through and to keep us healthy. So let the spirituality rock.
I thank you, Bernie. I'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks. I bless you. I praise you. Thank you for joining us on Spirituality Rocks.
My pleasure.
Again, I just want to remind you that's www.burnie, B-U-R-N-I-E, herbs, H-E-R-B-S.com. My Skype guest will join us right after the TV commercial, but I want to give you a little teaser. I've read his book. It's called Discovering Your Bliss, How Having a Vision and Mission Creates a Life Worth Living. It's a wonderful, not only a primer and new thought, but it's something that keeps you focused. And I found it for me, I really enjoyed reading it because it gave me more of an inspiration, gave me greater clarity about my life purpose and my vision for my life. So we're going to find out more about that after our brief commercial break. So don't go too far away, because we'll be back with Terry Drew Karanen in just a moment with Spirituality Rocks.
I am divinely guided, peacefully, joyfully. I follow my inner guidance, peacefully, joyfully. I am
My name is Dr. Robert Brevard. I'm here for Multi-Medicine in Westbury, New York. We're located at 1065 Old Country Road, Suite 214. Been here for about 15 years. The practice has medical doctors, physical therapists, chiropractors, acupuncturists. We also do pain management, and we have orthopedists on staff. Here at Advanced Multi-Medicine Rehabilitation, we've got physical therapists on staff who treat an array of conditions, from neck pain to back pain, shoulder pain. We treat carpal tunnel. We treat a lot of car accident patients, slip and falls. We treat patients with knee injuries, with ankle injuries. We have state-of-the-art equipment. We've been here for over 15 years. Vast array of diagnostic testing, from x-rays to EMGs. What is an EMG? It's a diagnostic test that allows a doctor to determine where the pinched nerve is. Cora is a physical therapist at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. She's working on Stephanie, who was involved recently in an automobile accident. Stephanie has tight thoracic and cervical musculature, and Cora is doing some myofascial release work and some therapeutic stretching, doing it to help her with her pain. Vicky is also a patient here at Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation. Vicky is now working her leg muscles, specifically her quadricep muscles, trying to strengthen them after an injury she sustained. If you find yourself in need of any type of physical therapy, please don't hesitate to call Advanced Multi-Medicine and Rehabilitation, located in Westbury, New York, in Suite 214. Phone number is 516-334-7000, or find us on our website at advancedmultimedicine.com.
I'm Tommy Marr. I'm down in St. Bart's having a good time. A lot of people at this time, they like to go have a little cocktail. But you know what I do? I'm going to watch MadhouseTV.com. You got that right.
Today's episode of Spirituality Rocks is focusing on discovering your bliss. And our focus for today is the book by Terry Drew, Karanen, and it's the subtitle on Discovering Your Bliss is How Having a Vision and Mission Creates a Life Worth Living. Welcome to the show, Terry Drew Karanen.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Thanks for asking me.
Just delighted you can be with us. The viewing audience, if you knew about Terry's bio, it would spin your head. This is one of the most actualized guests I've ever had on the show. This man, if it's something to do, he's done it. If it's someplace to go, he's been there. If it's somebody to meet, he's met them. And he's done everything from being, he's a licensed social worker. He's also licensed in massage therapist. He is also a flight attendant, and he is a minister with the Centers for Spiritual Living. And he's worked as a speaker, a seminar facilitator, and on and on and on. And he has written several books. And one of them is called Freedom to Live, and It's Safe for Me to Be Me, and Meditations for Life. So I'm just so excited, and I realize that the reason that you're so accomplished and you've done it with such ease is because of what you've written in your book, and where you talk about discovering your bliss. Could we define bliss? Because I think maybe bliss means many things to many people. How do you define bliss?
Well, that's actually something I talk about in the book because people have some really different views on it. Bliss, sometimes people think, oh my God, you're blissed out, you're no good to anybody, or you've got to be up in a mountain someplace and just always umming. But bliss to me just means that wonderful feeling that you are just so centered. What Deepak Chopra talks about being in the gap. In fact, when I was writing this book and editing it, someone suggested that I take bliss out because it might be misunderstood in some way. And I thought, no, I want to use the word and I want people to understand how very familiar it's become in their own life and how it can be really part of their daily life instead of something that is unattainable.
So then, being in the zone, having peace of mind, a sense of security, is this how you're defining bliss then?
That's one good way of putting it. And I think the other key point here, Janine, is that we don't have to always feel it all the time, and in the sense that, if you're going to live your bliss and you're going to be a blissful person, then nothing is going to happen that's difficult for you to deal with. You're not going to have any problems. It's about being able to have that kind of a base that we teach in New Thought and through the Science of Mind principles that I teach that allows us to get through whatever it is we need to get through.
Gotcha. So it's like having a strong, solid foundation.
Exactly. Not
Okay.
built on shifting sands, as the scripture says.
Yeah, right. You talk about universal laws or principles that govern our lives. Please speak about that. Talk about what you mean when you refer to that in your book.
Well, Ernest Holmes taught that, as you quote on your program, change your thinking, change your life. He talked about a law of attraction, a law of reciprocity, all these different laws. But what it really means is the law of cause and effect. And as we change our thinking, as we put our focus on whatever it is that we desire, and we really put our intention behind that, then the universe, I believe, as Emerson says, conspires to have what we want happen. Doesn't mean you can snap your fingers and have it happen. Holmes had one time said it would probably be good if we could get everything we wanted all the time because it would probably interfere with somebody else's good. But those principles are ones that take us out of the realm of victimization and, I can't do anything, and, I'm too fat or too skinny or too old, to this or to that, or uneducated or too educated, and brings us up to the point of, if this is what I want to do, if this is what my intention is, then I can move forward.
So
I would have to say one thing, though.
yes,
The hardest thing for me is I want to know exactly how. And we don't get to know that. And often what I found out is the greatest thing is that I get excited and I get very surprised by what the universe puts in front of me. Like being with you and being on this show and being able to share with you, and as we talked on the phone, sharing similarities in the backgrounds of people. I could have never have guessed that a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago.
right, that
How
would
fun is
happen.
that?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm so delighted you could, fill in with us on such short notice. When you talk about changing your thinking and changing your life, what I read in your book is you said that it starts by believing it's possible. You have to start by believing it's possible. And then you said transforming old beliefs that no longer serve you into new and exciting matrix for your present and future. Well, Yahoo! How do we do that? Wow. And I don't expect you to answer that in a sentence, but whoa.
We have to be willing. And this reminds me of a time, a long time ago, when I was seeking help from a counselor. And I went into the session, and I must have talked nonstop for 30, 35 minutes. I did this and this, and this is what's going to happen, that's going to happen. And she finally she looked at, she said, well, why are you here? You've got it all figured out.
Oh.
And yet it wasn't working. So we have to be able to look at our beliefs that are sacrosanct. I have to believe that I can say, you know what I was taught as a child that I thought I was going to base my life on, that's not working right now. It's like trying to use technology to do today the technology that we had 50 years ago. It's not possible. And yet, those principles are still the same. The same principles of communication that we used 50 years ago are very similar principles that we're using today. And it's the same way with our life as well. I grew up in a faith that gave me a lot of rules, regulations. I knew exactly what was right, what was wrong. I could quote you chapter, verse, book, and exactly what the Bible said about whatever I was supposed to do. But I had no way to apply it. In that black and white world, there was no way for me to apply something to a problem that didn't exist within that construct.
Right.
It was outside of the problem I didn't know what to do. Now that I have these principles through Science of Mind and other New Thought teachers, it's an amazing possibility of being able to put this matrix over top of it and then allowing it to unfold for you.
That's fantastic, and that's very well put. So I've noticed that when it's time to change our thinking, we need to be more self-focused, meaning self-focused, looking at our belief systems, looking at our attitudes, and be willing to switch them. But yet so many of us are outer motivated, and even in the book you say that far too many of us are concerned what the world thinks of us. And I actually was counseling with someone last night, and they were all worried about what other people think, and I said, you know what? People probably aren't even thinking about you at all. And instead, how about being concerned? They're not thinking about you. They're out on a Hawaiian cruise vacation. And in your book you said, think about what the universe knows about you. Gosh, I love that. That really set me off to thinking. And I'm thinking, well, the universe knows me as a being of light. The universe knows me as peaceful. The universe knows me as loving and joyful. The universe knows me as a possibility thinker. And my list got long because what your book inspired me. You have a lot of exercises in your book. And so your book inspired me to write things down and to just for clarity. And I'll tell you, I just felt so much better. I felt like I could stand a little taller when I was thinking about what the universe knows about us. So talk about, what does the universe know about you, Terry? Or people in general.
Oh,
what is the
wow.
universe?
You know, I know that you had Dennis Merritt Jones in your show.
I did.
Most recently, and he was talking about his new book, Your Redefining Moments,
Yeah.
Becoming Who You Were Born to Be.
Yes.
And we know on a very, very cellular level, I think what we were born to be and what we were born to do. But then we decide we have all these constructs around us. We have what society thinks we should do. And one point that you made, I think, is so important in this discussion is that we think so much about what other people want from us or what they expect us to do. And we brought up with these things where we're not supposed to think of ourselves, especially you're supposed to be a good Christian martyr. You know, you're not supposed to take the big piece of pie. You're not supposed to say what you want. You're supposed to be happy with what's given to you. And that's not the way Jesus lived. I don't know where Christians quite get this, but this is what they are taught in so many different religions. And we have to be willing to ask for what we want and then to open up to it. It may not always come by the specific path that we think it's going to come from, but it can come from a source that we don't want it to come from, like your ex-wife or your ex-husband or the mother-in-law that you can't stand or someone who you are having problems with at work. And they say the exact perfect thing that you need to hear. We don't get to choose the channel. So what the universe thinks about me, I think, is that it sets back, if I can make it anthropomorphic for a second, I think it just sets back and giggles. I like to be able to give, as one of my teachers, the late Reverend Helen Street, used to say, a cosmic giggle. I like to think that God is having fun, or that Spirit is having fun, or whatever we want to call it, and just to be able to take a deep breath and allow myself to believe that what I want to do is really what I should do or can do or will do, and not be apologetic for it, not try to explain it. If somebody doesn't understand the way I live my life, that's got to be okay with me. We were talking on the phone about how some people are a jack of all trades, a master of none.
Yes.
Used to say.
Uh-huh.
And someone accused me of this not long ago. They said, well, you're just not good at anything. And I said, well, let's see, I've been a minister of religious science for 18 years. I've been a flight attendant for a little over 18 years. And I had a massage practice for 25 years that I closed 2 years ago. What part of commitment am I not getting here?
Well,
we live in this wonderful world now, this 21st century, that we do not have to just stay in the same job for 30 years or 40 years, 50 years that our mother or father wanted us to be in. What we have to be committed to is what is our intention for being here. Not what your mother's, and this is why I talk about bliss. It's not your mother's bliss, it's not your father's bliss, it's not the church's bliss. It's what is your bliss? What do you want to do with your life? So I'm really excited that you enjoyed that, what I've been writing, and that some of the exercises might have been of interest. So that's what it's for.
So, gosh, I've got so many questions. We know that God creates from what's in our subconscious mind. So then we teach a new thought that it's important to examine what's in the subconscious mind as well as the conscious mind. And when we look at the conscious mind, so many of us have a challenge with the inner critic. I call it the silver hammer experience, where we beat ourselves over the head for something we shoulda, coulda, woulda, or whatever. Shoulda known better, this and that. How do we deal with the inner critic? I mean, what do we... And the critic doesn't whisper, as you put in the book. It screams at us. Tell us about...
Yeah, find out who the critic is.
What do you mean?
Well, often it's not something that we put in our head. It's something that was put into our head by somebody else. So I take people through a meditation with their critic and say, get into the critic and say, well, who's talking? Invariably, it's someone else's voice. It may not even be somebody else. It may be the way that we somehow twisted what we saw as a child. I don't remember what the situation was exactly, but I said, well, I believe something, and my mother looked at me and she said, why would you believe that? And I went over this situation in my childhood, and I said, well, this happened, and you said this, and Dad said this, so that's what it is. And she looked at me, she said, that's not what we meant. So I've been holding I had been holding on to this for years and years and years, and she's like, why would you think that? And yet, as an 8-year-old, I somehow took this that Mom said and this that Dad said, I put it together, and it became a belief that I was basing part of my life on. And that's not even what they meant to teach me.
Yeah. Yeah. How many of us are snafu'd and caught up in beliefs that we surmised as a child from what we heard? I have had that experience too. I remember saying to my dad one time, about something in particular. He said, I never said that. What are you talking about? And I realized that it was something that I gleaned from my perception. And my perception was really askew. Well, what I like that I want to talk about, we have to take a commercial break in just a moment, but you say in the book, we can be our own worst critics, and it's usually a voice from the past, as a child, but you said we can also be our own best cheerleaders. I love that. I just love that. There's only one person responsible when it comes down to what is stopping us to have our life the way we deserve it, you wrote in your book, and that is ourselves. And I was like, wow. And then you said that everything you've been into in your life, everything up to this moment, has been a preparation for you to embark on the journey that can take you into areas that you may have not even explored, so that you really can have what I love to call a peaceful, productive, and rewarding life. Peaceful, productive, and rewarding. So I really like that. And then what you talk about is creating a vision statement and a mission statement. So when we come back after this commercial break, I'd like to go in depth with that and talk to the people about how they can do that. So don't go too far away, because we'll be right back with more of
Excellent.
Spirituality Rocks.
Okay.
Peacefully, joyfully, I am divinely guided. Peacefully, joyfully, I follow my inner guidance. Peacefully, joyfully, I am divine.
Technical Worldwide Tattoo Supply is one of the largest suppliers in the world and your #1 resource for top quality, affordable tattoo and piercing supplies. Technical Worldwide Tattoo Supply is the #1 supplier of tattoo inks in the world, with more than 200 products including Mom's Ink, Philadelphia Eddie's Traditional Inks, Paolini Sacred Color Inks, and more. Technical Worldwide Tattoo Supply, your one-stop shopping destination for great service, best prices, and top quality supplies. Coney Island Carlos vintage wines and premium spirits are undeniably distinctive, selected for their unique, memorable flavor. Coney Island Carlos vintage wines and premium spirits are delivered to you in beautifully designed bottles featuring limited edition artwork. Coney Island Carlos vintage wines and premium spirits are available at affordable prices in fine restaurants, bars, and liquor stores. Or check www.coneyislandcarlo.com for availability. Technical Worldwide Tattoo Supply is one.
Planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act 1 will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote, or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you did.
Do I have an exciting show for you today, or what? Terry Drew Karanen is with us. He is the author of Discovering Your Bliss and How Having a Vision and Mission Creates a Life Worth Living. We've been having a great conversation, and now we are actually up to the point about creating a vision and a mission statement. And so the vision statement guides your life, and the mission statement helps you to carry out your vision. So that's pretty succinct, right? Okay.
Yes. Basically, the vision is the what, and the mission is the how.
Okay. So could you tell us your vision statement and mission so that people can get an idea of what we're speaking?
The one that I've been working with and been using for the last 20 years, it's morphed a little bit from time to time, but currently it's that my vision allows me to live an abundant, peaceful life in an atmosphere of joy, love, and playfulness. And my mission is to assist others in creating lives worth living by being a powerful and loving leader, or by lovingly guiding others.
I love it. That's fantastic. And I'm just thinking, because the owner of the studio just walked in, not only do we need a vision and mission for our personal lives, but corporations do it all the time. They have their vision statements and their mission statement. And so it's fantastic that we have it for both work and our individual lives. And in the book, you explain that as you get a vision or a mission, that you transform, your life begins to transform into something awesome, into ways that you never dreamed possible. And also that not only does it help you, but it ripples out, and it even works on a planetary level, that you have a greater consciousness of peace and harmony that ripples out. I find, depending on the circumstances on my life, that my vision, one of my big visions is to create a difference in the world, but my mission changes depending on where I am in my life. So it's pretty much the vision stays the same and your mission changes?
Your mission changes or your vision changes? I'm sorry.
It sounds to me like your vision is pretty much consistent, but then your mission can change as you allow it to unfold? Or not necessarily?
I think the mission,
yeah.
I think I understand what you're saying. I don't think the mission changes, but how that mission is carried out changes.
That's what I meant. That's exactly what I meant. Thank you.
Yeah. For example, the Centers for Spiritual Living that I belong to as an organization, has a wonderful process called, or a facility called having a focus ministry. And my focus ministry that I'm in the process of creating is combining spirit, mind, and body, because spiritually, as a minister, mind from the psychological, social work point of view, and then also body from my body work practice that I had, and the other interests that I have in naturopathic medicines, etc. So if you have spirit, mind, and body, and you're working with that, and you're holistically coming to somebody to say, how can I serve you? There are people, start a couple of sentences usually. That's part of the way my mind works sometimes. But ever been to one of these holistic or spiritual type functions, seminars, workshops, fairs is what I'm thinking about, where they have all these people hawking their wares, and there's some wonderful people there, but there's certain people there, you have to have this. This is what you need. This is what you have to have. If you get this, everything will be wonderful in your life. I haven't got a clue when someone calls me for help or for support how I'm supposed to do that. So the first question to me was, if a client comes to me, or if an organization comes to me, or a couple comes to me to create a vision statement or a mission statement, or what's counseling is, how can I support you? Part of my support might be referring them to someone else. Part of my support might be to directing them to someone else. Some of my support might be working in concert with someone else to achieve what they want to achieve in their life, or it may be something that we can do together. But it's about being willing to open up to that. Sometimes people, I talk to some other counselors and ministers who want to try to have all the answers for their congregants or for their clients. Everybody has their own answers. It's our job as counselors or as ministers or as guides or as leaders to stand not in front of them or behind them and push them or pull them. Stand beside them and look toward what their mission is. Look to see how we can support them to getting where we want to go. That's why I know you're an interfaith chaplain. And you don't go in and, if you're going into a hospital or working in a chaplain, you don't go in and start preaching dogma. You go in there to see how you can support them, because it's not about your attitude about what you believe necessarily, but how you, as a spiritual leader, can support them.
Exactly. Exactly. In the book, you give us an exercise so that we can learn how to write our own vision and mission statement. You also talk about intention, and I love what you said about that. Too many people get involved in discovering their bliss and their purpose, and they stop short of living it because they can't figure out how to make money doing it. And
Right.
yeah, what's up with that?
You know, and why do you have to make money doing it?
Good
That's
point.
the first question I ask people. And something that I do write in the book is that some of us have wonderful jobs that allow us the money and or the time or the facilities to do what it is we want. And that other people actually make their living doing what they love to do because that's who they are. It's not wrong either way. Living your bliss doesn't mean you have to make money at it. If you really are, often people will be drawn to you, but I know plenty of people that have 9-to-5 jobs, weekends off, 2 weeks vacation, have a nice medical plan, and then that allows them to do what they want to do as far as their hobbies or where they want to go or how they want to travel. It doesn't mean that we have to always be doing that 24/7, and yet, because we're focused on our intention and having that happen, we have it does happen in our lives. We just have to take our hands off of it and say, oh, well, it has to happen this way. I mean, I haven't worked a 9-to-5 job Monday through Friday for over 20 years. I don't know if I could do that. Even though I have a full-time job as a flight attendant with American Airlines, it's still very flexible. We're basically an unsupervised workforce from the fact that, I don't have somebody, looking over my shoulder as I'm taking care of things. But it's being able to allow life to flow through you and with you and as you. One of the things I heard many years ago was, you can go with the flow, but choose the stream. It was for a high school graduation, and it was a billboard outside, and it said, "Dead fish can go with the flow." So anything can go with the flow, but once you go with the flow, once you find out what your vision is, once you find out what you really want to do with your life, then you do choose the right stream. You do go with the flow, and you stop trying to fight. We stop trying to fight every rock in the road.
Fantastic, fantastic. As I mentioned, there's a whole section in the book about how to create your vision and mission. And one thing that I said, exercise number 10 was ask why. That one struck me because you said if we're unable to stay why we want to accomplish a particular goal or have a particular vision, that we would find success to be elusive or delayed.
There's 2 ways I think of looking at that. If the why is just because I want to do it, then I ask, well, why do you just want to do it? And often, if someone is struggling with getting where they say they want to go, it's often because the reason that they want to do it, the why, if you will, is because someone else wants them to. They want to live someone else's dream. They're doing what they think they should do. The shoulda, woulda, mighta, couldas that you were talking about earlier.
Okay.
They think the why is not. It's not just because I want to do this. It's because what's behind that why. And it may be just because you want to do that, and that's fine. I'm not saying that we should question all of our desires, certainly not. But I want to make sure that what I want to do when I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next is because I really want to do it, not because somebody else is saying I should.
Fantastic, fantastic. You know what? I'd like to take a brief commercial break in just a moment, because then when we come back, we can talk about the 5 P's of having a life worth living, which is possibility, power, passion, practice, and purpose. We can look at those, but what I'd also like to do is I'd like to invite you to do an affirmative prayer for the viewing audience. So stay tuned. We'll be right back in just a bit with more Spirituality Rocks.
Peacefully, joyfully, Peacefully, joyfully, I am.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidisciplinary practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multidiscipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our two offices. Thank you.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm Janine Burns, your host, delighted to be bringing you Terry Drew Karanen. Now, the banners this week are not up on the show, so Terry, would you tell the guests your website address, please?
It's my name, Terry, T-E-R-R-Y, Drew, D-R-E-W, Karanen, K-A-R-A-N-E-N.com.
Fantastic. TerryDrewKaranen.com. And for those of you who sign up on his website just today, you can download a free copy of his book, Freedom to Live. That's his gift to you. So check it out. And right now what we're going to do is an affirmative prayer. Today is 9/11. Those of you watching, I'm sure everybody knows about 9/11. This, of course, is an international show. People know about 9/11. There's a lot of people mourning and grieving and paying honor and respect to those who were victim of that awful tragedy. And so, Terry, I'm going to invite you to say a prayer for peace of mind, to say a prayer for those affected directly by that tragedy.
Absolutely. It's not just this tragedy, but it's the losses that we feel are so difficult for some people to bear, especially when it's the way people were lost from us or to us, though. So let's just quiet ourselves and just take a deep breath. There are so many different feelings with loss. So for just a moment, be willing to let those go. Be willing to come together in the oneness of love that is all there is. And so whether you're grieving someone on 9/11, no longer in your life, whether you're grieving someone who may have passed today, or passed 20 years ago, or at some time in the future when you lose someone, see that person's face before you right now. And as you see that person's face, know and accept the love that you see in their eyes and the memories that you had with them. That's the truth of who you are, who they were, and what you have. Be willing right now to accept the love that is all around you. Instead of going back and dredging up, we remember with love, with appreciation, with kindness, and with joy each and every person that is no longer in our lives. And to honor them, we also take the time today to be at peace with who we are, to share our love and our light with each other, and to always be able to think of the people in our life as supporting us, loving us, and being there for us to walk with us through this path that we call life. There is no way to completely forget about what someone has gone through. So we do what we can right now to seek to understand, to seek to heal, to seek to love one another, and to let go of anything that would stand in the way of perfect peace and happiness and honoring those we miss. We release anything that would stand in the way of this right now and accept it as being ours, accepting joy and love and peace of mind. And so it is.
And so it is. Beautiful. Fantastic. Fantastic.
It's a difficult, as you said, this show goes on and on. It wouldn't necessarily somebody be watching it on 9/11, but tragedy happens to each of us in different ways. A very dear friend of mine just lost his sister today. So I was based in New York with American in 2001. And I remember flying in the night before, landing in LaGuardia and seeing the Twin Towers and reminiscing that I had been there the year before at Windows of the World for a Halloween costume party that we had, thinking how beautiful they were, and then waking up the next morning and being on the island then for the next 5 days before we could get off. And there's no way to explain the tragedy that we feel with something like that. And so many of us have had to go through so much with this. It's so important for us to be there for one another, to love one another, and to remember and honor these people for who they were. Whether it's somebody we missed, our grandmother died, or whether it's somebody that died in 9/11, or whether it's somebody who has today. We have to honor their memory and to love them and to remember everything that was good about them, because they're always in our heart. And that's where we can always find them.
Exactly. What I always like to say, and you mentioned when we were speaking recently, you mentioned Mother Yates, that Reverend Catherine Yates would say, love is the glue that holds the universe together. And so it's the love in your heart, the love in your heart that keeps you connected forever. Yeah, wonderful. Let's shift gears just a little bit here. In the book, you talk about possibility, power, passion, practice, and purpose. We don't have much time left, but do you think you could do a little zoom, zoom, zoom? Possibility, what do you mean? 30 seconds.
There's a chapter on each of those, and the possibility is just really looking at just, how possible is this? Not probable, what's possible. Do we really believe this is going to happen? I would have loved to have been an ice skater, a professional ice skater. Not going to happen if I just thought, I'm going to become a professional ice skater. I'm going to go out of the ice capades, and I may even be on the Olympic team. That's not going to be possible, not at my age. So what we're looking for, does it have to be possible? We have to really believe it. It can't just be a pipe dream. the power has to come from within us, and that we have to be available for it, and that we have to really believe that that power is there. And then passion. Again, if you're not really interested in what you're doing, you're not going to be passionate about it. There's a whole section in there about passion, because we think in the West as passion as being a sexual thing, or erotic thing. But to have passion about what it is that we really desire to do in our lives, that's important as well. And then practice. Are we willing to actually go through and do what it takes to get to where we want to get, and do all the steps that are going to get us there? And then being on purpose. The purpose of being focused, which actually goes along with the next chapter of clear intention, is really being on course. It's like when a plane flies from point A to point B. If they're leaving LA, going to New York, and they're not pointed basically east, they're not going to get there. They've got to be on purpose. They have to be a clear intention. That requires a lot of various changes and adjustments when you fly a plane. Most of this is done on the computer, granted, but it still has to be done. And that's what we have to do in our lives too. We may need to make subtle adjustments.
Right, and many subtle adjustments. Yeah, many subtle adjustments. I read somewhere that a plane flies off course 90% of the time, but it's these subtle adjustments that keeps it going back on. So yeah, that's a great metaphor. And then purpose, and that is having the vision and the mission. Correct?
Yes.
Good.
Exactly.
You have an exercise, and you have a bunch of exercises in the book, and you know what? They're not arduous exercises. They're great exercises, and because sometimes I read these books and these exercises, I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's a little arduous. It's time consuming, and it's a little much. You have exercise number 16 is have fun, and I thought to myself, because we can get so serious. We got to get really serious because we're making a difference here. We're changing our lives. Have fun, and it says if you're extremely structured and analytical, you may need to schedule time to play. And you might have to force yourself to have fun. What do you tell us what you mean about that?
It's so easy to get up in the morning, sit at my desk. I couldn't sleep the other night, and I had some things in my mind. So I was down here at my desk, 4 o'clock in the morning, started working. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had been drinking coffee. I realized I hadn't eaten.
Okay.
I wasn't upset. I wasn't tired. My back wasn't hurting. I was really having a great time. But I also realized that you need to break away. You need to have some fun. So I went and played with the cats for a while. We have 3 cats, and they're more than willing to be pet or tickled. Or I go out and I'll take a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and I'll go out in the gazebo and listen to the birds, or just do anything that's fun, just to get away and or watch watch a TV show that's mindless, but I want to do it. So I want to do that because I just feel like it. And
right.
It's okay to be that way. We just have fun to play.
Exactly. And it nourishes your spirit too, and it recharges the batteries. Yeah. Well, I have just enjoyed this so much. Please tell the guest and say it twice in a row. Terry Drew Karanen. Spell it for us, please.
It's Terry Drew Karanen, TerryDrewKaranen.com, and that has my webpage. Also, there's links to my Facebook page as well as my Twitter account. You'll also find that we've been talking about my book as if it's out. It is due to be published, we hope, by the spring of next year.
Okay. But
you can pre-order it online now for a reduced cost of what it will be on the web when it's actually published. And the copy that you got was the draft versions. Changes are still being made. It's out for recommendation right now and review. But if anyone wants to reserve their copy at a lower price, they're more than welcome to do that. There's the second link on the web page will take you right there.
Awesome. And you know what else I want the guests to know about, or the viewing audience, is what I intended to say, is that I look on your face page, and every day you've got some spiritual nuggets. They're easy to absorb. They're not long, but they're very insightful and very impactful. And I just think that's fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us on Spirituality Rocks. Check him out on Facebook. That's Terry Drew Karanen, and the last name is spelled Karanen. We bless you, we praise you, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on Spirituality Rocks.
Thank you.
And next week, I want the viewing audience to know that we have with us Lorna Bright. Lorna Bright will be with us. This lady is a coach, she's a singer, she's a New Thought minister, and she's just spectacular. So we can check her out next week. In the meantime, check out www.madhousetv.com. There are shows on a myriad of subjects, and you can check out some really spectacular things. This is Dr. Janine Burns signing off. Thank you for watching the show, and tell your friends, like us on Facebook. Spirituality rocks.